Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of BackYard Bullshit. I'm your illustrious host, DJ TrakRunner, sat beside the I can't do this. I can't do this intro, man. These intros are killing me every time. Welcome to BackYard Bullshit. My name is DJ TrakRunner. That is Kao. That is Dom, and we are here to talk about more fun topics today. Today being the one that you came up with, where I feel like you literally just came up with this topic just to play devil's advocate with me. Today we will be discussing disco versus EDM.
Notice, I am here in this itchy ass blonde wig, but you know what? It's okay.
Gotta represent. Gotta
Disco
represent.
forever.
Of course, and so it's like I don't even get the discussion. I mean, I know you're here. She's already given me looks on this and all of that. Disco versus EDM, disco.
Clearly, I'm the only one who dressed up for the occasion because I have Simple Mojo EDM over here and Black Panther over there on the far and left side. So maybe I'm just doing too much, but I don't care. It's disco. I love it. All right, so let's talk about our disco, I guess. Disco started, so disco era. Man, oh man.
I mean, you know me. I love the disco. I love EDM, but it's like I mean, not even EDM as like the category, but more as like house music and like dance type music. But disco.
I was about to say we're talking about disco.
Way.
EDM.
I know
that's
what I'm saying. I know. If you want them to go all factual with disco and all that, like,
I wish I was born in the disco era. Let me just tell everybody that, because they were partying, they were doing other things we're not going to talk about on camera, but they were partying until like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. The music was just hitting. It was phenomenal. The stories that I heard from my parents, because my dad and my mom was them disco era kids, man, the music was just popping and bobbing. They had heels this thick. Dancing and running around, and I just, usually when people think of like disco, they think of John Travolta, they think of Saturday Night Fever, they think of Studio 54.
Thank God It's Friday.
Yeah,
that old movie.
Yeah, so just like imagine yourselves back then, like, oh man, so great.
Just being able to party, and it's like, especially all the DJs, because you have such like advancements in kind of like music and sound culture and everything, because it's like in Chicago you have Frankie Knuckles and The Warehouse. You also have in New York it was like you had Larry Levan in Paradise Garage, and Nicky Ciano, all those types of guys. Sorry, I've written so many papers on like dance and disco music. It's
somebody's up today, I see. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I'm all, I love it. And so it's just like that club, just having that club culture go so hard and so heavy for so long, even though it was still all considered like underground. Like disco was considered an underground type music.
Where did it come from? Where did disco come from? Let's see if you did your homework.
Disco, well, so I don't like, disco came from like the development of like rhythm and blues and soul music and funk, of course, but I did do a little bit of research, and as far as I could tell, the first sort of credited disco song was actually Papa Was a Rolling Stone, by the Temptations, and some people, they listen to that song and they're like, oh no, it's a funk song. If you listen to some of the percussion that comes in, and there's like claps that come in, it's like a boom ka boom ka boom ka. It's like, that's a very disco-esque sort of thing, and it's like the first little baby steps. Oh no, okay, someone's here to prove me wrong.
Disco originated in Paris, France, La Discothèque. It was pretty much the Prohibition, I think, era, if I'm so sure, because I also did a paper on it. And yes, back around that time in Paris, I'm assuming, there was no music was allowed, like, of that stature. Yeah. So it was a lot of underground going, and they had disco, like discotheque. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly.
Discotheque.
My French is just like totally off.
Discotheque with the Q-U-E.
And that was a time where literally live musicians and stuff like that would play over. And the reason why it was so long is because they didn't want to get caught or discovered. So they would play underground until the wee hours in the morning, because if they was leave late at night, they would get discovered by the cops, and cops wasn't having that. So that's where it originated from, La Discothèque. And yes, Papa Rose was a Rolling Stone, was kind of the first accredited case, after, of course, United States.
Such a good song.
We are always the last in the trend to come follow through, but it made such a big monumental piece here. Right. So,
well, it's kind of interesting, just like quick little sidebar. Disco here actually gave birth to to like kind of like help disco here and disco all over the world helped to develop the genre that is like French house music. And that's where you kind of take a 4-bar loop. Most of the time it is from disco, and you kind of loop it and repeat it. So that's kind of where like you know everything comes full circle and interconnects and everything. So it's kind of it is I didn't know it did in France. I did all these papers and everything, and I never heard anything about it originating in France. That's fucking
La discotheque.
Yeah, man.
La discotheque.
I guess I've done dance music either way, but like.
So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on discotheque?
On the disco.
Black Panther.
Please, your thoughts.
Right.
No, when it comes to disco, I was just thinking of what made it so influential. So I did deep search into it. I guess things I put together. Like it mainly did 5 things.
Oh yes, her 5.
Yes,
Dom was talking about the 5 things that disco did.
Yes, it's got to be numbered though.
Tell
I
them.
know.
She's got the list on the
I got
iPad.
my
She's
list.
ready
I
to.
got to be ready, cuz.
Child.
Flick it.
I ain't got time.
I feel like it did 5 things.
Fix
you know
the
what I'm
way.
saying?
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Fix it.
I ain't got time.
5 things. Go.
It saved dancing.
It saved dancing.
Yes.
It brought about the rise of the DJ.
Yes.
It inspired social liberation.
That too.
It showed a way for indie labels to beat major labels.
Ooh.
Maybe.
And it invented the remix.
I see somebody
That
came
too.
to work this morning.
Right.
Yep.
What do you mean to save the DJ? Shame on you, TrakRunner. You should
What?
know
Some
these
of the
things.
I mean, I can
Dancing
speak.
or-
Well, no, I can speak to
saved
this
the DJ.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
It didn't
Save
necessarily.
Dancing, it brought about the
it
rise.
It
brought
brought about the rise of the
so
DJ,
let's
and
talk
I
about
can
that.
speak to that, like I mentioned earlier, with like Larry Levon, Nicky Siano, Frankie Knuckles. You had guys at Studio 54 as well. Who was that studio? Was it Larry Levon? I think Larry Levon was Paradise Garage. Frankie Knuckles was the Warehouse. I can't remember who was at Studio 54. I mean, everyone came to Studio 54. If you were anyone popular in this time, you went to Studio 54.
Shout out to New York City, Brooklyn.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't know I put out there. But Studio 54 was in Manhattan, so boop, 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 boop. Okay, go ahead.
There you go. No, but it's like you had, for the first time, DJs were kind of tasked with continuously mixing. And, there was the famous U-shaped DJ booth in Studio 54 where, they had the DJs over there. And I remember, doing off of, stuff I've read, Nicky Siano came in and he was one of the first people that kind of was like, hey, check out this continuous mix method where he was pitch bending and, making the tempos matched and basically creating one song out of a whole bunch, and everyone else see this, all the American DJs see this, and they're like, oh, it was almost just like an epiphany. Not to say they weren't doing it before, but they weren't doing it to his smoothness and his caliber to it.
Right.
So then you had all these DJs basically, they're learning new mix techniques, they're getting all this great music strung together.
Right.
And they're putting, it was essentially you talk about, at least in the dance music community, you talk about sort of the godfathers of dance and house music, these are those guys, Frankie Knuckles, huge influence on pop, on not only house and dance music, but later in pop music with synth pop in the later 80s and everything. Oh my god.
Well, what else has disco music go? Before we get into the favorite artist, because that's gonna be my shit. But what else did the disco era produce?
Drugs.
Besides drugs. About that.
The best drugs you've ever had in your life.
This is a family show. We can't talk about that.
Just kidding.
Just check the box that says this video isn't for children.
Stay in school, kids. I'm
Style,
kidding.
platform
So
heels.
kidding.
No. Guys, come on. Oh my God, Steve Korn will hate you right now.
Yeah, you know.
It brought about the 12-inch EP or extended play.
God, dude.
Ficky. Come on, DJ. Yes. Ficky. No?
The extended play.
These people.
I mean, yeah, no, it brought about instrumental formats where you'd literally have, instead of 4 or 5 songs on one side and 4 or 5 songs on the other side, you'd get one song entirely on one side.
For 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And it would have 3 minutes of instrumental, then
Okay.
you'd get the actual song for 4 minutes, then you get another 3 of exit instrumental. It was wild. I still have a few of those records, and they're great for mixing and doing what you got to do, but
So, okay.
Steve Korn would be mad though.
Steve
Sorry,
Korn
Steve.
pissed.
Love you, Steve.
So, what about the artists, right? Because it's all music, of course, it's music artists. So this is my favorite
shit.
part of disco. You have to give me 4 of your favorite artists, not 5. We ain't gonna do 5. We're not doing 5 today. We're doing 4. Hold strong to it. I'll go first. So, of course, Diana Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch.
She was the boss. I mean,
Yeah.
again, y'all will hear me say this over and over
Son of a
again.
biscuit.
She was amazing.
Yeah.
She was just amazing. She was a queen. It was her reign. It was her time.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed Sylvester.
Sylvester, yeah.
Sylvester was an androgynous being, and he was singing them high notes like no other. But he
just nailed it.
Shout out to Sylvester, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Of course, y'all know I am a Michael Jackson fan, so Jackson 5, put it in.
Right, there you go.
Well, my favorite song, of course, being...
Oh my God. Why is it Blame It on the Boogie? Yeah, Blame It on the Boogie.
Why is it Blame It on the Boogie? Because I like that song.
No, I was like, why doesn't it come to me? Because I get it mixed up between Blame It on the Boogie and Can You Feel It?
I just can't.
I wish I could demonstrate what he did with that song.
Can I feel it?
All right,
man lost
and
his
then I got one more.
All right.
What is disco without Donna Summer?
Son of a biscuit.
Yeah. MacArthur Park.
Oh, yes! Only she can sing a song about prostitution and make it. Bad girl. That was a song about prostitution, guys.
Right.
Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now you go, DJ TrakRunner. Who is your favorite 4?
Should I go
for disco? Him? Yeah, go ahead. Go. Because she seems.
He already named 2 of my people.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm gonna name some other ones that I like, because I can't have more than 4.
4.
You get 4.
Gloria Gaynor.
Oh
yes.
Wasn't she a one-hit wonder? I'm sorry, she was a one-hit wonder.
No, she had 2. There was I Will Survive, and there was.
What's the song she's known for?
I Will Survive.
She's a one-hit wonder. Sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I love her.
Look, there's some other songs. I just can't name them right now.
Like what?
Like what?
I would look it up, but you want me to do this on camera? Can you cut that out while I'm looking? I'm serious. I will look right now. I'm just saying. But yeah, we'll look them up later.
Okay.
Bee Gees.
Bee Gees.
Yes, I like Bee Gees.
Riv, I know what you're gonna say. And
I did. I ain't gonna lie, I did. Chic.
Oh, you bitch.
That's what I said to you.
Yeah.
And
we ain't gonna talk about the Bee Gees, honey.
Yeah.
This is a family show.
The Bee Gees and the Travers. 2
they're the only ones I like. Okay.
Very similar bands.
And Casey and the Sunshine Band. Do they count?
Girl, where you from? You can't say this with a Black Panther outfit on. I'm sorry.
Wait,
I had picked 4.
Oh,
right.
And I stole 2. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Honey, you can't tell by the way I roll.
That's funny.
All right.
So my 4, I mean, you already got Donna Summer and Diana Ross. Thelma Houston.
Yes.
Another one-hit wonder. Don't leave me this way. That was one of the first disco songs I've ever heard, and I loved it. Oh God, just the power. The Brothers Johnson.
Okay.
I love just all their stuff. Chic.
Okay.
Another good one. God, Gloria Gaynor. Who else is there?
What's one more person?
Who?
Listen, if y'all don't mention this mother...
What, Earth, Wind, and Fire?
No, I'm be pissed if y'all don't mention...
I was going to mention somebody.
I'm trying to think. Who he's going to mention?
Rick James. Yes.
So, as everybody, what's your 4th one before I go off? Because I'm about to go off. What's your 4th one before I go off?
Go off, because I don't.
We're all just going to forget about Nile Rodgers? I'm leaving.
Well, no, okay, if we're doing... Oh. Well, no, because if you're talking...
It's Nile Rodgers.
Well, no, because Nile Rodgers was like a... he was a guitar player, and obviously he wrote a lot of stuff, too. But
Chic?
it's like...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
But
it's like... Well, okay,
freak out.
I mean, then arguably, like, I can say, like, Giorgio Moroder.
You can.
Yeah, well, I mean, then that... Well, no, because he produced Donna Summer's I Feel Love.
That's true,
produced,
but he's still not Nile Rodgers. It's not like Nile Rodgers. He's like
he's
the king of disco.
The man's 80.
No,
actually, Giorgio Moroder is considered the father of disco. Sorry.
You see him trying to save himself?
No, I save myself. I know myself.
Giorgio
Moroder wrote Donna Summer's I Feel Love.
Did she just say Rick James? I'm sorry, hold up. Did you just say Rick James? Did she just say that?
Said I just
He just got that.
Wait, Rick James. What disco song Rick James
He
did?
just caught that.
Hey y'all, what Super Freak?
Hey,
Those were not disco songs.
I was fucking
Oh, child. Oh, okay.
Give it to me.
Who,
I
child?
can't
Give it to
believe-
me. Give it to me. Give these not.
But I was jamming to that
Give it
shit,
to me,
though.
man.
I was jamming
That
to
was
that.
not disco. That would be considered.
I know it was fun. Yeah, that's
Oh
what
yeah,
I'm saying.
funk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan.
Khan.
Shaka Khan. Okay. Well, let's talk about the I guess the atmosphere of disco. Like again, I mentioned it before plenty of times. Right, the party scene, the music until the wee hours of the morning, maybe to the next morning.
The stories I've heard.
The stories I've heard
from my
man.
parents. Oh man.
Frivolous activities that we will not be talking. We will not be talking about that.
We need like unedited
on this webcast.
We
But
need like unedited versions where we can be like, my parents told me they used to do this. My
Right.
parents told me they used to do that.
you know, for the unedited version,
I was
child, I
afraid
have
to
certain
ask.
lines on the table, but we're not going to talk about that right now, because you know, Rob would be like,
No. Did you know they used to? No.
right, okay, yeah. So the dancing, the long lines until wee hours of the morning. I think with disco, it was all about live singing, and them girls would sing.
Right.
They would sing their hearts out. I remember at that time, everything was 2-track, so there was no Pro Tools, there was no Logic, there was no Ableton, there was no Auto Tune, there was no
it was just
what's this industry standard?
track it,
Melodyne.
Yeah.
Right. It was just, girls, sing your heart out on this song, 2 tracks, and sing it from start to finish. And when we're done, sing it again and sing it again. And when I tell you them vocals were on point, like point.
Yeah.
Again, let's go to Diana Ross. She's Miss Ross. Her
Diana
songs
Ross.
were on point. Donna Summer on point. The notes, the harmonies, everything on point.
Yeah.
And they did that on a 2-track. For all my producers out there, do you understand that this was done on 2-track?
Yeah.
Can you imagine sitting in a booth and watching somebody belt their heart away for like maybe 3-5 hours?
Yeah.
And there's just, you can't stop them, you can't do nothing, just literally go. And it's like that.
Yeah, or you're gonna sit there like clipping and taping,
Right,
like editing tape, like you had to
right.
go
Oh my
through and like
God,
edit.
so-
Like that's how editing was done. Like you get the tape
Right.
machine and you're just cutting and pasting.
Right.
Oh, I've seen pictures of that, and it really just
Isn't that crazy?
it amazes me how those guys did that. It's like. And they weren't even getting paid that much to do it. They were just sitting in a room, just like listening, and then stop, pull it back a little bit,
With
slice,
some OD big ass bifocals. Like-
yeah, just so
Definitely
bad.
no error for mistake.
Sorry, because no, my mom has one of those bifocals. She had them for a very long time. But
Oh,
like this big,
shit.
like they just cover your whole face and they like so heavy and stuff like that. You
Oh,
gotta
Jesus.
kind of like go like this because they're just like so big. Please, if you don't believe me, go YouTube old videos of them recording and you'll see the big old glasses. I love you guys though. Like shout out
It's
to Lens
great.
Crafters.
Yeah. Shout out to Lens Crafters. Shout out Lens Crafters.
But yeah, like man, it was just such a different scene, a different vibe. It was so much fun. Like there was no cares in the world when it came to disco. That's how I know if I was born in disco reign, I probably would have lasted 7 years, and then I would have been on my ultimate
Died with
demise
disco.
because I would have been I would have been
What?
dead by disco. I would have been not focused about work. I wouldn't have been like, I guess, disciplined. I would be going out every night in my platform hills, and I would be partying and boogieing. I wouldn't get home till like 7 or 8 o'clock. Well, 7, 8 o'clock the next morning. I would sleep, wake up, and do it all over again. So I applaud the disco era people because I promise you, man, I would have been done.
Right.
Doing frivolous activities that we're not going to talk about on camera.
Where would you have wanted to be? Like
Oh,
in the
honey,
disco era,
New
like
York
New York,
City.
okay. Like, well, of course, it's
Home.
like I say that because, but it's like okay, so obviously, like
What's
you
the
have Studio
alternative?
54
Texas? Sorry, honey. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jab.
I mean Chicago for that matter.
Oh, Chicago. Well, Chicago, yeah.
Chicago. Wait a few more years, you hit Detroit, get that Detroit techno going. I'm trying to gloss over the fact that he just
I
railed
wouldn't have
Texas
been
real
in Detroit
quick.
at this time.
But not California.
Not California.
No, California. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing at this time.
Oh.
Well, no, actually, we had No, who did we
That
have?
was
We
the
had
point.
we had Casablanca Records. Fuck you. They had tons of disco out.
Captain California vibe. I'm pretty sure I would not want to have been here for the disco. First of all, they close at 2 a.m. here. Let that soak in real quick. The minute I'm getting my boogie on, it's time to go home. I ain't got time for that. I want to be partying until the sun comes up, literally. So
Crazy.
New York would have been it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about EDM.
Now we move into the...
Right, this is movie time. I was going to take off my wig. Okay, let's talk about EDM, but no, I can't do that. Let's talk about EDM.
Let's talk about the death of disco real quick. 1982, Comiskey Park.
Okay,
people gather and destroy a bunch of disco discs.
It
really sucks because it wasn't just like an attack on disco music. It was like an attack on black music. People were just showing up with like jazz records, and so that was the inevitable death of disco. But disco did not die. It was just shoved into the underground.
Who killed disco? What genre hated on disco?
Rock and roll, of course. Yeah.
Let's put that out there.
Yeah,
I love my rock and roll, but yeah, they killed
disco stuff.
They were hating ass bitches. That's what it was.
But
it is what it is.
It's because the majors were supporting the rock and the indies were supporting the disco. And it was
the majors wasn't making no money.
Right. But hey, they made money in the club scene. Like it went back underground. You had disco events. You had the emergence of like Vogue events and like Vogue battles and all that. And
we don't want to talk about Vogue now.
That's right. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, I know exactly. But you had like basically disco sort of created the framework for the dance music, and then the sound evolved into house music, and then here we are now with the genre known as EDM. But I feel the problem I have with EDM is I feel like people hear something and they're like, oh, that's EDM. Like they'll hear dubstep or trap and they'll be like, oh, that's EDM. And it's like, I guess it technically is, but I don't think of that as like dance music.
Okay, well, Linda, bring it back.
Sorry, yeah.
Now that I've... He just punched right in for EDM. Okay, Linda, bring it back.
Crush the wall down.
Okay, so EDM now, right? EDM, early 2000s.
Dance music.
Started, like electronic
late
dance
90s,
music.
early 2000s.
Late 90s, early 2000s. So now disco is dead. It was killed in a park. It was set on fire. And
disco was beaten mercilessly.
Killed in the fire. Yeah, like bring your discos and throw it in the fire. Yeah, it was a hot mess. And now we have the rise of electronic dance music. So give me a little back thing on that, being that you're so educated.
I'm educated on disco. I mean, dance music, it just like you have like... I don't know. It's the same thing with the advancement of technology.
Okay.
Like, obviously, you have advancements in hardware synths, computer DAW labs, and it leads to people experimenting more. So, obviously, they're going to use more electronic-based sounds. And you had people, like, the beginning of that, like, Aphex Twin. Mm-hmm. Like, you had his shows were crazy. I remember, it's like I've seen footage of him, and he's just sitting there, not doing anything. He's just twisting knobs, and there's just this hard dance music blaring. And it's like, what is this? What's going on? And you realize it really is kind of the formative stage of, like, kind of pushing the boundaries and seeing what like electronic dance music can do. People today still love and worship Aphex Twin, even though I mean I like his stuff. It's a little bit too ambient for me. But you have guys like that. You have the early Tiestos and the David Guettas and the Afrojacks and the man, credit to all those guys. They just, I mean, it was like EDM gave birth with the birth of like EDM kind of gave birth to the rise of like the superstar DJ. And because it's like you've had star DJs where it's like old school guys. You have like Academics or Premier or Fat Man Scoop or
Fat Man Scoop didn't do EDM now.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's what I'm saying. You have like
he was rap.
They were all like all of them were rap. But it's like
he was. I love him to death. But he's Fat Man Scoop was the one you call when you're ready for a party. Like we all know where the ladies at. Okay, we're not gonna talk about that. We're talking about EDM. Okay, continue.
But that's what I'm saying is like you had these you had star DJs where it's like they'd go and they'd fill a club or they'd fill a venue or something. But now you have the potential for these guys to just become entities and brands, I mean, fast forward to I think it was 2012, Calvin Harris made $64 million in 1 year.
Boop, boop. I love Calvin Harris.
Like off of music and everything. Like it's just...
Before we go there though,
you
gotta give me a little history on EDM. So let's ask Encyclopedia Dom. Black Panther. Do you have any information, the back thing on EDM? Do you have any fun facts?
No fun facts.
It started with Skrillex.
It was really big in other countries before it got to the U.S.
As always,
I think it was London one of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Just like disco.
And I know one of the people who got really heavy into it was Skrillex. Mm-hmm. And I know he was in something else, and he changed his name all that, and came out to the U.S. And I know that he was the first one I heard of that was really popping and brought that music around, and I was just like, really?
I was gonna say real quick, so dance music did actually start, dance music in terms of house and Detroit techno did actually originate in the U.S. and then it spread. It got commercial. You had some Detroit techno songs getting really commercial, and guys like Frankie Knuckles and what's his name? I think it's Jeffrey Saunders. No,
somebody came to work again today this morning.
Something Saunders and like Frankie Knuckles and these tracks they were like huge tracks, and so they got huge over in the UK because that's our next closest market. So you have the development of something called UK Garage or UK Garage, as you want to say with the accent, and that was like a really housey type of stuff, and it's EDM's one of those things where it just kind of came with the advancement of the sound and the experimentation of other people. So you had people using new sounds they'd never heard before, layering in different ways they'd never had before, creating these new, more like techie type sounds, and then you just kind of have this sort of split of all these genres where it's like, oh, first we have house, now we have Detroit and Chicago house. Okay, well now we have Detroit techno and Chicago techno, but we also have Detroit hard techno and Chicago piano house, and it's like it just sort of kind of started like spiderwebbing off into every little thing. And then I don't know how it happened, but you have the rise of other genres such as like dubstep, subgenres, but you have like dubstep with Skrillex, or like Arab music. He kind of went viral off of some stuff like that, and it kind of got all lumped together, and that's what I really don't like. Is you have like it's all like everything now. If it sounds even a little bit electronic, no matter if it's dubstep, trap, house music, techno, it's all just EDM. And it's like I feel like for someone like me, it's like don't just call it EDM.
Well, okay.
Don't she begs to differ. She says, "Oh, is this some EDM stuff?" Yeah, dumb.
Techno. I'm guilty of it too. Anytime I hear I already classified it as
Adam
EDM.
always calls it oons music. You want your oons music? Or boots and cats.
Okay. All right. Well, back to the positivity of EDM. as like with disco, 4 artists that you love. I mean, it should be 3 because there's really not that many of them out there, but I'll just go...
What do you mean not that many of them out there?
Begs to differ. Maybe I'm just a commercial guy. I don't know. God. But... I would say, being that DJ TrakRunner is just so gifted in this topic, he should just start it off. So who is your 4th favorite?
4 favorite or 3 favorite? 3
4.
Favorite. 4.
I'll give you 4. I'm only going to do 3.
Okay. If we're talking like old school, like kind of like people I grew up with into now.
If you don't name these damn artists. If you don't name these damn artists, are we talking old school, new school? Are we talking texture? Are we talking duo? Like
Jesus.
Name the goddamn artist, please.
Favorite EDM artists, gonna be, big one, David Guetta and Calvin Harris on a more like pop level, just because these guys, David Guetta at least did start from like a more underground. He started from an underground area and worked his way up, so mad respect to him. Another favorite is Sonny Fodera. I've been following him for a long time. He's awesome. He's out of the UK.
Okay.
He's insane. Another favorite EDM art or Daft Punk.
Okay.
I love Daft Punk.
Son
I can't.
Of a bitch.
What? Oh, was that your favorite artist?
All 3 of mine.
Was that all your favorite?
I'm going to go ahead and regurgitate that, but okay, cool. I guess I'll go last. Black Panther. You go ahead. Should I call you Black Panther still? We're
Black
into
Panther.
Should I call her BLM or should
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Black Panther, go ahead.
Before I name these people.
No.
Uh-oh. What is with the disclaimer?
I get a disclaimer.
My sister with EDM. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Like, it's cool. Whatever. I can't get jiggy with that shit. That's just me, though.
How do you not get?
How do you not get... All right, before we attack, name your artist. Because we're about to attack you right now.
That's fine.
You're gonna name your artist. That's why you can't get jiggy with it.
Daft Punk is the number one for me.
Okay.
Daft Punk. Okay.
I'm
starting to get into Marshmello a little bit. I'm starting to slowly
I like
but surely.
Marshmello.
Yeah, because he's starting to. And I know a lot of people going to give these guys a lot of hick, which I can get it because they do sound the same a lot. But
where, if you say who I think you're going to say, I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
And now I'm afraid to say them now.
No, say it.
Can I guess who you're going to say?
No, wait.
No, can I guess who you're going to say, please?
This is real. No, what's happening?
Go ahead.
Chainsmokers? God, I knew it.
What's wrong with Chainsmokers?
Oh,
I like them.
I get why he feels the way he feels. I get it.
Oh, you have to.
Mad
So we
respect
can
to the
get
I
it.
totally
Chainsmokers,
get
but
it.
Why? No, don't y'all want to know the secret? I want to know the secret. Why don't you like Chainsmokers?
I get why. I get it.
they're
Trust
just
me, I
so
get it.
poppy, and it's like it's one of those things where I feel like you have. It's like their type of music isn't necessarily like. I mean, it is EDM. But
It
it's
is
not
EDM.
Like, it's just me being a dance music
Like I said,
snob.
I get why he has.
It's just me. It's just me being like a genre snob and being like, it's not technically dance music. It's future-based music.
You see how we were in such unity for disco, and you see what EDM just did to this table? We are all in battle at this moment. Do you see what just happened? Okay.
Case in point, disco's better.
Oh, stop. We're not going to get there yet. We're not going to get there yet. I have to still name my three. So
Okay.
Yes.
I like Calvin Harris. I appreciate David Guetta for what he's done.
Yay.
And actually,
Oh.
I enjoy...
Oh shit.
You ready? Medusa.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The Italian.
Da 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 da.
That
I
song
need
got
your
played
love.
everywhere.
I need your love. Da da da. I'll be singing that shit at work. Like they think my coworkers be making fun of me because I be da 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 da. I need your love. Do you know who Medusa is?
You just paid them
probably don't.
$100.
No, I know.
I
I have no
need your
idea.
love.
Never heard
It's
of
I
that.
need your love. Da 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 da. Sorry.
He
that-
plays all the time in his car.
He
Child.
plays it all the time.
Wait. What?
It comes on all the time in my car, but I skip it.
Da, da,
No, he didn't.
Ooh, what was that? Okay.
Yeah, just
So
We got sound effects now.
right, we did. Yeah, so I appreciate those three. I appreciate David Guetta for what he's done. Calvin Harris kind of brought the R&B hip hop element to EDM. With my favorite song being from Calvin Harris is I'll Be Thinking About You. That song, no matter what, puts me in a great mood. Like it just puts me in a great mood. I remember when the song first aired, I was living in Long Beach, and that was a song we would play before we would go out to Broadway bars, and man, we would just, that song just puts you in such an elevated spot. I feel like for David Guetta, going back, David Guetta kind of inspired me because he did a lot of songs with Sia, and one of them being Titanium. And Titanium is such an uplifting song, right? It was so beautiful.
The song makes you emotional. It
does.
literally makes you just feel like you're floating.
You're
You're
just
just
like,
floating. But I think the song that gets that with emotions is what's the song? Hey, what's the song? You are the piece of me.
Oh, Zed. Clarity.
Oh God.
Yes,
Clarity.
which is my fourth person, Zed.
Zed. No.
We're not
actually-
gonna sleep on Zed.
No, mad respect to
Zed
Zed.
is killing the game right now.
No, that song, I remember Spectrum and Clarity. When I heard those first two songs, they were because that was sort of like the progressive house era where you had these really big tracks, and it was I just remember the emotion I got from those was just insane. I was like, this is music. This is just pure music right here. This isn't
Beautiful.
anything else. It was great. Daft Punk always does that for me though. A lot of their songs, and it's crazy because they're still kind of lumped into the dance music category, but they actually have so many slow songs too, and it's just they're
Who cares about the slow song? This
I
is
know,
disco
we're trying to party.
EDM.
I know, we're trying to
we
party.
want to pump up.
Well, then even their even their dance bangers go crazy. You can't tell me Around the World and One More Time. You're never
This is Daft Punk?
Yeah, you're never gonna.
I'm not really a fan.
You're never gonna not One More Time.
I mean, they're cool. I like Lucky, and I feel it coming, but I'm not really
You like newer Daft Punk.
I like
You don't
newer
like the-
Daft Punk. Yeah,
you don't
I'm not
like
a
the
fan
old
of the
school
old
shit.
school. No, I was.
That's that
I
real
was
shit.
listening to Zed,
Talk
David
about me.
Getter.
Getter.
What? Look,
Shout out to
Calvin
Getter.
Harris.
You're awesome.
And the one EDM song, even though I didn't mention them, but the one EDM song that I will play over and over and over again, which is very appropriate, is "I Like Us Better When We're Wasted."
Also, quick shout out to Avicii. Rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
That man made some.
I wasn't
greatest.
a fan of his. I mean, shit. Now
I feel-
we're coming in now because we're gonna talk about Avicii. Then we're
Like
gonna talk about Kygo.
levels.
Like
Well,
I,
Kygo- but
I'm
no,
a Kygo
Avicii-
fan before Avicii.
Kygo, yes, but Avicii was just on such a different level. He was so young. He had so many great
So
hits
was Zed.
so early. But
Zed was what, 15,
Avicii
13
was
when he started?
right. No, but no. What the?
No. Okay.
What the fuck?
You see who has been.
I mean, Martin Garrix was young too, but I feel like Avicii he was like the pinnacle. Like, because you had guys like Steve Aoki and Tiesto doing it, but they were still a little bit older. You had Martin Garrix, who was just coming into it, but Avicii was just really running it. Just the songs he had, like, think about it. He had Levels. He had the whole, what was it? Arrows,
Don't wake me up when it's all over.
Don't wake me up. Hey, brother.
When I'm wandering up.
Hey, man.
All this time I was... I'm sorry.
That man found a way to blend, like, country tunes and music. So.
Yeah, he did bring country to, just like Calvin Harris brought R&B to EDM.
Calvin
so, I mean,
Harris.
they all have their different ways. But I guess we can say, like, what's the difference between the two? Because this is what we're battling, right? We're battling EDM versus disco. What was the atmosphere like for EDM? What's the atmosphere like? Because now we have EDC conferences everywhere. The big one EDM conferences, like the big one in Vegas, like the rave.
Festivals?
I don't want festivals, rave. I don't listen. Okay, I don't.
Conferences.
I don't. They're festivals or raves. I don't even want to call them raves because I don't want to offend anybody.
Carl Cox gives a fucking dissertation.
Conferences. Okay, so we have EDM festivals everywhere. And will we equivocate that to like the discos, the Studio 54s and stuff like that, or like would we?
I'd say yes and no because like in terms of, it's hard because in that disco era you really just had those three. It started with The Loft by David Mancuso, which was just like a private party gathering. Then that went into Studio 54. You had Paradise Garage as well.
Forget
all
about
of these
La Discotheque in Paris.
Well, no, that's saying, but you had all those in New York, and then you had the Warehouse in Chicago, and it's like those were kind of like really the only obviously.
No, it wasn't. Oh, put it on, because
that's
I will
what I'm
not
saying.
have my dad watch this and scream at me. Please do not forget about the cafeteria.
Of course, the cafeteria. That's what I'm saying. Is there's other like little small spots like that.
That wasn't a small spot. The cafeteria was not a small spot.
Fair enough. But there is other spots like that where it's like I just don't know, but those are the ones that made it into the history books where it's like, okay, these history books where it's like they're these really cool clubs, they're really popping, but I feel like now we almost have like super clubs where you can fit like 3,000 people in them, or like even I feel like even like 1,000 or 1,200 people is big.
Who's doing
like,
that?
Fucking,
not now, but...
I mean like Avalon and
Okay.
and Exchange down in like downtown LA, those places packed. Like I've been to Exchange packed out, and holy crap.
But is it more about the music or is it more about the culture? See, because I think
it's culture.
Is it culture?
I think it's just the nightclub culture and going out and you see the lights, you get fucked up with your friends. But arguably it was the same thing then because it's like I feel like it's just a perspective. I feel like it's the perspective you're looking at. Because for them, because you think about it, we're saying this about the music that we're experiencing right now. Would someone in the disco era maybe not say the same thing where it's like, oh, this disco's cool, like it's just the music we're experiencing right now, but I'm gonna go out.
Disagree with you. I think it was more about the music in the disco era than it was about the culture of the genre. Only because, as we said, when people sang back in the disco era, right, they sang and they emotionally connected with the fans. And yeah, there was frivolous activities going on, but these people, they got lost in the music. Like it wasn't
due to frivolous activities.
Well, yeah, frivolous activities, and you know what was going on at the time. Like there was things happening in the world politically.
I'm ready.
But like they still connected to the music. They connected to the voice. They connected to the artist. Like
the
it
lyrics.
Just right. And the lyrics.
They still do
right.
that now,
honey. No.
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 Speak for yourself.
No. I think more people now that's part of the EDM world. They connect to the culture of it. They connect to what happens at the festivals. They connect to the beats. They won't because if you notice back then in disco era, it was all about the vocal. EDM is not all about the vocal anymore. It's all about the music. It's all about the technology, the electronic, right? So, you know, Zed, right? Love little guy. Zed, when he has a show, he literally sits at a DJ booth, give you lights, and play with different like electronic sounds, and then people get
it's a whole experience because of the technology
due to frivolous activities now too. But back then, when you hear Donna Summer, when you hear Thelma Houston, or when you hear Diana Ross, you felt the lyrics, you emoted, you connected with them. So I think there's a really big difference between the two.
Yeah.
If it wasn't just about the vocals and the lyrics back then, I don't think disco would have been as big, or it wouldn't have been seen as much of a threat.
I feel like the emotional high you get from like the environment you're in is so much more now than it would have been back then, because back then you're in a disco, you have the lights, of course, you maybe have some flashes here or there. You don't have the giant LED screens, you don't have CO2 cannons, you don't have all this crazy stuff now.
Because they didn't need
it.
Right. Boom. They didn't need it.
Well, that's not necessarily. Well, no, that's not
need
necessarily true. Because I've been to like.
You ain't been to disco. You wasn't born.
I haven't been to disco, but I've been to like several nightclubs, and I've seen ones that are over the top, and I've seen ones that are like super minimal as well. And the minimal ones still do just fine.
So do you think, because we're going to bring it back to disco and EDM, do you think that EDM with the lights and the extraness, do you think that that's trying to overcompensate for the lyrics and the actual message of the music, or? Because I think it does.
I think it can. I don't think it's the direct like purpose for it though. I think because it's like just the same as you have advancements with music technology, you're obviously going to have advancements in staging technology, and I think people would be silly not to take advantage of it. Like if I can, it's like if they give me the option to have a 20 by 20 LED wall behind me when I'm playing, I'm probably going to take the 20 by 20 wall.
Okay.
Rather than just have like, and that's not to be like, oh, my DJing sucks, or oh, the songs I play are gonna be shitty. It's just like, oh, I get to have good music and I get to have something cool behind me.
But do you think that that's a distraction from the actual music? Because
no,
this is where the battle happens, right? In disco, again, we didn't have all that back then. It was all, like I said, it was a 2-track. It was a playing. It was extended play. It was how the DJ played it, and then that's the way it goes. So
it's still like that now, though. It's just
now
there's just more visual. I feel like it's still the same. The basic job of the DJ is the same, but like. The visual components change.
I've been to an EDM party. I'm sorry, it's not the same. I think people care more about the music, the technology. The vocals is kind of gone.
I want to know what EDM party you went to.
I'm not gonna, because I don't believe in tearing anybody down. So I'm not gonna tell you where I've been. But I've been to an EDM party, and it's not the same. It is not the same unless you're doing frivolous activities. But we all can agree. We can sit and we can listen to a disco song right now, and we can just totally get lost. I mean, look at you. Every time you listen to, what is it, Xanadu? Out of all songs in the world, Xanadu. He will stop a conversation to sing Olivia Newton-John. I'm just like, wait, I'm confused. But you're not going to do that for Day Together, though. You're not going to do that for that at all. You're not going to do that for Tiesto. You're not going to do that for Zed.
Because I don't feel the same about their songs.
Oh! We just hit a milestone.
2 cents.
He just proved us right.
2 cents.
Go ahead. Chime
I'm just here to give my opinion. I'm not saying who's here and who's right. I'm just giving my opinions. Chime, yes. Chime away, Miss Chime.
Well, being that...
I feel like with EDM, it's like a glorified party. So, because you have a DJ.
You have a DJ.
And it's like what brings it more to life is like all the visual effects, the lighting and all that, which is why I would love to do lighting for like an EDM concert, because I know it would just be bomb as hell.
Because they be high as oh, sorry. I'm not supposed to say that. They be doing frivolous activities.
Freebasing? What's that?
With disco, you know, it was about the voice and the lyrics, because lyrics were mostly about surviving hardships and emotional resilience.
I will survive.
So anytime a disco song would come, the way you would sing to it, the way you would dance with it, it wouldn't be like you would do an EDM song.
But disco songs were also about partying too.
Yeah, but anytime you hear it, when you be like,
see,
like when you ring my bell,
Anita Ward.
Yeah, you not be like, hey, come on. Like when you hear that, you know, you get into it. But EDM is kind of like, you know.
Now you just do the head, but now it's the head bob.
That's
cool.
It. But you don't sing to it. You just be like, have your own little concert.
Right. See? So the technology overcompensates for the vocals.
I get down to my house to both, so that's all I gotta say about that. Walk into my house, catch me dancing, spinning around, you'll just hear music blasting. God. Sorry, neighbors, love you all.
Clearly. All right, so I guess we can wrap this and say that disco wins. Disco was much better than EDM if it was to go.
Yes. No.
Sorry.
Of course.
My Gen Z kids and my Latin millennials. Disco wins.
God.
I'm so sorry.
Gen Z kids.
And if you don't believe me, please research. Disco was amazing. Point blank. Period. Yeah, we didn't need the lights. We didn't need the oomps. We had certain frivolous activities but disco was still the bomb. I'm speaking like I was born in the 70s. I need to stop.
Okay,
any last words? Like, where do you think EDM is going to go now? Because, again, the culture is it's huge.
I think it's crazy how it just shifted everything. Like, EDM culture has shifted how, like, artists release music, how music is even consumed versus streaming versus hard copy and all that. And I just wonder, like, I look at, like, my goal for EDM is to kind of get the U.S. to where Europe is. Because I know I can go to almost anywhere.
Did he just say his goal for EDM like he owned a genre? Did he just say that? My goal for EDM.
Yeah, my goal for. Oh my God. Well, because it's like you can go, like
now.
when you're out and about in like London or Amsterdam or most places, you'll hear kind of like house music more than you will here. You know, you'll hear dance music more places, and it's kind of more accepted there as like a party type of music. Here, I bust out some stuff like that. I get a third of the room going, fuck yeah. I get a third of the room going, whatever.
Not
and I
New
go
York,
a third of the and I get a third of the room going, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Why is he playing dance music? So, you know, it's like you still get that mixed reaction here. It's not as so much of like, oh, like dance music, let's go. And so I want it to be.
And that's exactly why I would not be in California listening to disco. Because I was probably having those reactions back then.
No, you have Casablanca out here. Everyone was doing frivolous activities in the studio.
Child, I feel like
on the desk of the
California was big for Woodstock. Like, I just think it was Woodstock. Like, everything which is great. Like, Janis Joplin owned California. But when it comes to disco, we own. New York owns disco.
Yeah.
We own disco. You know. You know,
Okay.
no shame. And hip-hop, too, but we'll talk about that in another episode. That'll be a whole nother debate right now.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Final words? Black Panther?
Bring disco back, please.
Bring disco. We can't bring
Good
disco
luck.
back.
Yeah, you can.
Well, there's like
There's a
there
few
are
artists
new like
that's considered disco based, but it's not the same.
Dua Lipa is
There's
disco
houses-
based. You do know that, right? She said that in a lot of her interviews. Dua
yeah,
Lipa,
she
and she's
did.
one of my
Yeah,
favorite
or there's
artists
like
of
you
all
have
time.
or you have guys like I mean Moose T's a huge one. He's a Grammy-winning artist from I think was it Germany, Austria, Germany, somewhere around there, and that man, I mean, he does disco-inspired house tracks all the time, and it's still considered, you know, EDM. It's still current. It's still nice, but it's not gonna be, you know, the disco that we know and love. Because I feel like no one wants to get all of that back together. No one wants to get, you know, a string section, 4 vocalists, 2 drummers, 1 for actual rhythm and 1 for just little perks and percussion. Like, no one wants to get all of that together and do the full one-take track all the way through.
So are you saying this generation's lazy?
Yes.
Is that what he's saying? Are you saying this generation's lazy?
Musically, maybe.
Ooh,
I
child.
agree.
Somebody is shaking the table.
I agree.
Ooh.
Most definitely. You'll know why.
Right.
Boy,
In the next episode, you'll know why.
I feel like, I it is a little bit. I think the mindset is different than it was back in the disco era. I think again now it's more about the culture. It's not about the vocals anymore. And I do feel like people are cutting corners because you can do it yourself. But I mean, you got to also think or remember that independent artists was backed up and major, well, not major because major didn't really support disco, but independent artists backed up the artists that was performing. And now we're in a moment, this time and age where you don't need an independent artist to release your music. You know, with streaming services and
yeah, you can do it yourself.
marketing and social media.
You don't need a
as we
major
discussed,
label to
right?
release it. Yeah.
Exactly. So like, I feel like now people are taking it kind of in their own hand. And then you got like Kygo. He takes things and he releases, like he did Higher Love with Whitney Houston, and then he did Tina Turner. He redid Tina Turner. What is it? What's Love Got to Do with It? Was it What's Love Got to Do with It?
Did.
So maybe people kind of will follow suit and go back to the old days
Well,
and kind of sample and reverse these tracks.
I was gonna say that's what Sam Smith just did. Donna Summer, I Feel Love, and he did that justice though. Like I feel like if you're gonna go back and do it justice like Kygo or Sam Smith, because Sam Smith, that boy just
No.
he did that song
Sam
justice.
Smith is non-binary. You will not refer to him as him.
Oh, him.
You refer
They.
to as they.
They did
Yes.
such a fantastic. Sorry, thank
They.
you. No, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Thank you for updating me. I didn't know this.
No, I think it's good education.
No,
yes.
it is. No, I didn't
Sam
know.
Smith will refer to as they.
Okay, good to know.
Yes.
They did a fantastic job
They
on
sure
Donna
did.
Summers.
They sure did. Well, that's good. I think we've hit everything. As you can see, it's been a very interesting conversation. So
make sure you let us know who wins disco or
who
EDM.
wins disco or EDM? Please follow us. Kyle_the brand. What's your handle?
At DJ TrakRunner, all one word, no C, TARK runner.
Clearly, he's part of the EDM tribe. Okay, Dom. Dom, what can we?
At Dom's Music with a K.
Am I the only one that says the whole thing like the way it's spelled? Like, okay.
At DJ TrakRunner, go crazy.
With no C. All right. Well, follow us in What's Your Hidden Gem. So I think we're going to go ahead and conclude this episode of EDM versus Disco. Disco one. Join us next week as we will be talking about something totally different, having the same kind of drinks, getting the same kind of fucked up, and talking about frivolous activities. We're not going to be talking about frivolous activities, so we're not going to do that.
We are.
The good stuff.
All right, well, I'm about to go get my disco fix. I'm going to listen to Blame It on the Boogie, because that is my favorite song of disco, so we will see you.
Is that a bird?
Was that a sound effect?
Is that a bird?
Was that a sound effect? Like what? All right.
That's how he sounded for real.
All right.
With
Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Have a good night. Ciao.